Okay, good morning, dear friends. That's me, standing at one of my favorite spots in the world, a dump site. I love visiting dump sites, and this one is in Dharamshala in Himachal Pradesh. It's a beautiful little town that lakhs of tourists visit every year from India and abroad. But this site is hidden to such a strategic location that neither locals nor tourists get to see this. I want to share something that's strange about this particular dump site and why it's one of my favorite dump sites. Of course, like other dump sites, this also has a lot of environmental issues, but there's a strange story linked to this dump site. There's a village called Sudev right below this dump site that you can see in this picture. And the funny thing is, the boys of that village are not getting married. Yes, the boys of that village are not getting married because nobody wants to send their daughters to such a village whose homes get flooded every monsoons with trash and toxins and leachates, right? Over the years, I've learned to become more curious to look at what is hidden behind the facade that the world shows us. What is hidden behind the scenes, right? So when I go to places like Taj Mahal, everybody enjoys the beauty of Taj Mahal, but I like to take a sneak peek at what's going on behind the scenes there, right? And inevitably, I find pictures like this. I went to Manali once. It's a beautiful town with snow-capped peaks, beautiful Bias River, and I sent my mother pictures like this, and she's so frustrated with me. She's like, Vishal, no, you need to send pictures of yourself with beautiful landscapes. But unfortunately, this is what she always ends up with. You can see trash that's actually ending up in the river right in this picture. And this used to be a flowing river in the city of Dehradun. But today, it is left into a complete dump site with over 10 feet of trash. Again, where my team and I love to do a morning photo shoot. Let's come closer to home. This is a picture, a drone picture from 5 years ago of the Assi River or Assi Nala, whatever you want to call it. You can see that it brings in the sewage of the entire city along with solid waste that enters into the Ganga. But there's a little secret. Don't tell anyone that this happens 100 meters upstream from where everyone takes a dip to wash off their sins in the Assi Ghat, right? Keep that to yourself. Yesterday, I was walking around this beautiful campus and I found familiar images of waste being dumped into the canals and waste being burnt in the open on our streets. Why are we okay with accepting something like this? And even our Lahartara Talab was not left without plastic pollution. This site is such a spiritual, significant site, and yet this is what is left of it. I want a quick show of hands. How many of you have seen this in real life? How many of you have seen a cow eating plastic? That is the entire room. Every single one of us has seen a cow eating plastic. This has become the new norm. But why are we okay with this? What are the emotions that go through us when we see a cow eating plastic, right? We either feel frustrated or angry. Frustrated that why are people continuing to litter? Or angry that why is the government not doing more to solve this problem? Or we feel hopeless that nothing's ever going to change. Or we feel helpless. We feel powerless that we cannot do anything to solve this problem. Or worse, we feel sad that, in accepting the reality, and the worst of all is we become apathetic, that we learn to close our eyes and move on to our next jobs. How many of you in this room, again by show of hands, have heard somebody tell you this? What difference does a single piece of plastic make? Why are you making such a fuss of it? Let it be. Yeah, that's a smaller number, but still, I'm glad that is the number in the room. A single piece of plastic can end up doing this to a bird. A single piece of straw can end up choking a turtle's nose. This image went viral in 2018 when scientists plucked out plastic straws from a turtle's nose, and as a result, ocean plastic pollution became a talking point, raising billions of dollars of funding to try to solve ocean plastic pollution. Unfortunately, they're trying to solve it in the ocean instead of trying to fix it on the land. A single piece of plastic bottle can end up trapping a crab inside, and not knowing how to get out, it can end its life inside. And eating a single piece of plastic every day can result in cows dying because their stomach is full of plastic. 50 kilos of plastic have been found in multiple cows that have died because of ingesting plastic. And this is not their fault. They didn't create this problem. This is happening because of our actions and our inactions. And this is completely unfair and not acceptable that they have to bear the brunt of this. And triggered by this injustice is what got me to start walking this path. I wasn't a born environmentalist. I remember as a high school student distinctly littering and my sister calling me out, "Hey Vishal, why are you littering? You need to have some manners," right? So I wasn't a born environmentalist, but starting to walk the path opened up my eyes to what lies into the future. I started the Green Club at IIT BHU in Varanasi in my second year. And for 4 years in campus, that's pretty much the only thing I did. Mobilizing students to drive cleanup drives, to run initiatives on reducing energy bills, to reduce water wastage, to reduce food consumption, food wastage, etc. And I really had fun doing this. It was so much, it was a challenge, there was so much adrenaline rush, and it felt so rewarding at the end of it. Like I was having a great time until I reached my final year, right? And now you have to make this grand choice of picking a career and your family expects you to take a high-paying job, which is a safe and secure path. And this other side, you have this little inner voice that's whispering into your ears that, "Oh, can you try this? Can you try this? This is interesting." But I didn't know that there was a career path that could be built in waste management or sustainability back then. But I feel very fortunate that I was able to take that call, and I took over a 60% pay cut to join the social sector and become part of a waste management startup in Bangalore, which started off this journey. But much to the agony of my parents, especially my father, who was disappointed in me for making that choice. Because by conventional standards, success is defined by how much you make at the end of the day and not the impact that you create. But I feel fortunate to be part of an organization like Waste Warriors for the last 5 years as the non-founding CEO, where we're working to catalyze systemic change to solve the waste crisis in the Indian Himalayan region. We do that by engaging closely with communities in these areas for driving behavior change. We work closely with local governments to help them set up systems because they also have a lot of challenges and roadblocks. We set up waste management infrastructure in collaboration with local governments on government land for both dry waste and wet waste processing. And we empower rural women to be part of the solution as local entrepreneurs that we call Paryavaran Sakhis. And these are the agents of change that we're looking to empower through our work. This is possible only because of a dedicated team of 220 plus warriors working full-time, tirelessly, with their heart, blood, and tears to solve this crisis across 12 locations in 2 states of Uttarakhand and Himachal. Annually, we divert over 20 lakh kilos of waste from these eco-sensitive areas, and we raise an annual budget of over $2.5 million. Yes, that's about 22 crores. It's possible to run a not-for-profit organization in a sustainable manner, right? These people are salaried employees. I get asked, even today, in a large number of forums, "Vishal, what do you do? Like, do you have a job? Is this a full-time thing or this is just a part-time thing for you?" Right? So people don't understand that waste or sustainability or social sector is today a highly professional industry where you can actually build a career. So this is our team, because of which we're able to do the work that we do at Waste Warriors. Over the years of working in this sector for the last decade, I want to share some of my key insights and learnings with all of you. The first thing that comes to mind when we think of any problem is technology is going to solve it. Let's just wait for technology. Someone's going to develop some technology and all this problem is just going to vanish. That's the first thought that comes to our minds. But unfortunately, we need to start looking beyond the hype of technology into the shadows of technology. In 1950s, when the consumption boom happened in the US, right? When there was a big spike in consumption because of improved technology, there was a corresponding decline in the National Happiness Index. The amount of waste also increased. With increasing access to technology today, the number of mental health cases in India are skyrocketing. In future, EI is going to be much more important than AI. Mark my words, emotional intelligence is going to be way more important than artificial intelligence in the future. The other important insight is who defines success. I want to present to you two case studies, and I want you to make up your mind on who is more successful. This guy who's earning 20 lakhs per annum selling sugar water and junk to kids and is probably frustrated at the end of the day, or this person who's earning half the amount but is able to empower and improve the livelihoods of artisans in Banaras and is probably thriving in her life and enjoying what she's doing. Who is more successful? Who defines that for us? What career path is the right career choice? I've come to realize this in multiple debates with my family, that how you earn is more important than how much. India's social sector is thriving today with incredible social entrepreneurs, access to funding, and great job opportunities. There's never been a better time to join the movement of solutions to the social and environmental crisis the country and the world is facing today. And once you start on that journey, you will realize that the emotions you felt when you saw the cow eating plastic will slowly start to transform. The frustration or anger towards government and communities will transform into empathy for all, including the polluter and those impacted by the pollution. From helplessness and hopelessness, we move towards becoming more curious and action-oriented. From feeling sad or apathy actually moves us into feeling the joy of solving problems. And instead of moving on to the next random thing, we actually end up finding a meaningful purpose and a lifelong mission. The last thing is learn to be selfish and keep things simple. Because at the end of the day, what's good for me is good for the environment. What's good for me is good for the environment, because we are an integral part of nature. If we can learn to live a good life in sync with ourselves and with nature, we will be doing Mother Nature a big service, and we do not have to try to solve the climate crisis, because the climate crisis or environmental pollution is nothing but a manifestation of the pollution of the human mind. So that's the level at which we need to work. And what do I mean by this in a practical way? Yeah. That what's good for me is good for the environment. If you eat fresh and you eat local, it's good for you. If you avoid processed foods, it's good for you and it's good for the environment. If you walk or cycle, it's good for you and it's good for the environment. So that philosophy extends to everything that we do. And one of the most important things that all of us in this room are going to do is choosing our careers. Today, there is no dearth of opportunities in terms of where and what you can build your career in. So find that whispering voice in your ears. Listen to it, protect it, nurture it, and act on it. Because sometimes the people you love the most, your family, like I proved to you today that my mother and my father were frustrated with me for doing what I was doing. They love me, I know that, but they still didn't understand what I was doing. So I had to protect that inner voice in my head to continue to try doing what I wanted to do. So, dear friends, what's good for me is good for the environment. Just focus on being selfish, learn the art of how to be selfish. What are the ingredients of a good life? And don't chase just monetary success. And when you start walking that path, every step you take, Mother Nature will always bless you. Thank you so much.